LSU wins the rubber match over South Carolina 7-3 to lock up a national seed. It's Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked on LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you sincerely for that. LSU beat South Carolina 7-3. So after gagging away game one on Thursday, the Tigers come back behind Cade Anderson on Friday, Anthony Eyanson on Saturday, and LSU does in fact get the series win. They finish conference play 19-11, and for all intents and purposes, LSU has locked up a national seed at this point. Tigers will be the 3 seed in the SEC tournament next week. We'll talk about what that means and all as we move throughout the show today after we talk about this game. But it has to start with Anthony Eyanson, who, was shaky early. Eyanson got into trouble in the bottom of the first. Well, I'll tell you this. He threw a lot of pitches, but the giant play in the first was Michael Braswell, the hustle play at third. They had shifted. They got the runner at first, and Braswell's hustle to third base to tag the runner trying to get to third. He immediately called for the challenge after the umpire ruled the runner safe. Jay Johnson trusted his veteran. They went to review. He was out. Big play there by Braswell. But the pitch count got up on Eyanson in the second. He finished the second inning at 45 pitches. Remember, you want to be 12 to 15 pitches per inning. So through 2 innings, you want to be in the 24 to 30 pitch range. He was at 45. So there was a real question there about whether Eyanson would be able to extend deep. He gets a quick third. He did give up the homer in the fourth, but had a quick 1-2-3 fifth. Faced one over the minimum in the sixth. That's where you got the ground ball double play. And in the seventh, got him in order. Ground out, strikeout, ground out. So he was able to become far more efficient and get you through 7, which was fantastic. So the final line on Eyanson, 7 innings pitched, just 2 runs and 5 hits. Only struck out 5, walked 3. But again, I will take strikeouts are fun. 1-pitch ground outs are way more efficient, and that's how you pitch deep into a ball game. And that's what Eyanson needed in this ball game after his pitch count got up in the second. And it was a really solid outing there by Eyanson to be able to extend even when he didn't have his best stuff early. And then we saw Rizzi face one hitter, Williams throw an inning, and Shores throw the final 2/3. To get you home. So nice day on the mound for the Tigers. Is South Carolina offensively, which has been largely inept throughout the year. South Carolina finished with 3 runs on just 6 hits. So really nice job by LSU's pitching. 3 more homers for the Tigers in this game. Jones homered in the 4th. A huge homer for Dickinson in the 5th. Really pivotal point of the game because after you got the RB, so the 5th inning, remember, they homered in the 4th to go up 2-1. So in the 5th, you get the leadoff guy on with a single, and you go single, walk, single. So the bases are loaded. Remember, you got the leadoff guy on the first, 3rd, Jones homered to lead off the 4th and 5th. So only in the second, in the first 5 innings, you got your leadoff guy for the 5 innings. All you had to show for it was Jones's homer. So in the 5th, you go single, walk, single. Bases are loaded. And so you're feeling pretty good here. And then you ground into a double play, but the run comes home. So they could have come home and got the run for play, by the way. But anyway, they traded the run for 2 outs. So it's 2-2 at this point, and Dickinson up with a runner on third, which I think was Milam, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back and look. But it's 2-2. Dickinson's up, top 5. And that was the point where Dickinson, it looked like he had struck out. The South Carolina pitcher kind of hopped off the mound and looked like he was heading to the dugout. Well, they called it a ball. It was a close pitch. Dickinson fought off a few more, and then he roped the homer to go up 4-2. Then Brown singled, stole a base, and then you had a fly out to get out of it. But that Dickinson homer was massive at that point because you needed a crooked number in that spot because you loaded the bases with nobody out, and you got it. You got it unconventionally, but you got your crooked number and put up a 3 spot right there. Brown would homer in the 7th, and then you'd add runs in the 8th and the 9th. Curiel's RBI, 2-out RBI single in the 8th to go up 6-2, and then in the 9th, Brown doubled and then stole a base and then came home on the RBI single by Milam to go up 7-3. So you got a lot of contributions from a lot of different guys in this ball game, which was great to see. Curiel had 3 hits, and we were really waiting for Curiel to come along. He had really been struggling the past few weekends. So to see Curiel have a 3-hit day was fantastic. He also did not strike out in this game. Jones was just 1 for 5, but the one was the solo homer. Dickinson, who just continues to quietly have a monster year, was 1 for 4, had the 2-run homer in the game. He did strike out twice. Brown, 3 for 5. He's now hitting .331 on the season. Although he struck out his first 2 at-bats, he ended up a triple short of the cycle. He went single, homer, double. You all know my feeling on Brown. Should be in the lineup every day. By now, I've belabored the point enough. You get it. Fry was 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. Not a great day, but that's going to happen. The good thing about a lineup like Milam was 2 for 4. Great to see. And he walked. He was on base 3 times. Milam was on base 3 times yesterday, on base 3 times again today. If Milam can get going a little bit here, look out, because that's been basically an out in your lineup here for most of conference play. If he can get going in postseason play like he did a year ago, awesome. And you didn't get much out of the bottom third. Braswell was 0 for 4. Aaron Beatty was just 1 for 4. Stanfield was 1 for 3 on the day. He did walk as well. But you got a lot of production. Like in game 2, it was the middle of your order. It was your 2, 3, 4 hitters that did all the damage. Today, it was spread out throughout your lineup, but it was great to see a lot of guys get involved. So a really nice day. A couple of other notes that I had. Mentioned Eyanson settling in to save the bullpen. You had a great opportunity in the top of the 6th that you blew. You led off with a single. That's when they had the fielder's choice E1. So they tried to throw down a second. Pitcher threw it into center field. So now you had runners at the corners with nobody out in the top of the 6th. And then they threw a wild pitch. So it was second and third, nobody out, and you went strikeout, fly out. So at that point, it was a 4-2 game. And you had second and third, nobody out. You didn't get any runs. So you're thinking it's not a great way to go about this game in what is still a hold your breath type moment. But Brown would homer in the 7th, and then you get single runs in the 8th and the 9th. So pushing across single runs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th gave you your margin. So the Tigers win at 7-3. Nice to see Maverick Rizzi come in, face one hitter, get the only hitter that he faced to ground out. Williams came in. Big moment there as well, because there was the hit by pitch that they reviewed, brought him back to the plate, struck him out, then gave up the homer, because that would have been a 2-run homer, which would have made it 6-4 had that hit by pitch stood. So big review there as well, as Jay won both of his reviews today. And then, of course, Shores finished it out for you in the 9th. So all things considered, really strong day for LSU when you had to have it. We talked about you had to win this series to feel really good about locking up a national seed, and LSU has done that. So the Tigers finished 19-11 in conference play. They'll be the 3 seed in the SEC tournament. Texas will be the 1. Arkansas will be the 2. So LSU will be the 3 seed, meaning LSU will not play in Hoover until Friday night. They'll play the last game on Friday. Remember, because all 16 teams make it, the whole field is single elimination this year. And the 4 teams with the double byes, 2 will play on Thursday, 2 will play on Friday. So the 1 seed Texas will play the first game Thursday. The 4 seed will play which I think is Vanderbilt, will play the second game on Thursday. And then on Friday, the 2 seed, which will be Arkansas, will play the 3:00 game on Friday. And then LSU will play the last game, which will follow after the 3:00 game. So Friday night, LSU will play its first game in Hoover as the 3 seed. So we'll wait to see who the opponent will be based on who's eliminated at that point. But I would love it. Look, there's a couple of ways Jay Johnson can approach Hoover at this point. You can go into it realizing you would play conceivably Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you could go Anderson, Eyanson, Shores, or whoever. I would just treat it like a weekend. You could. You could just treat it like a weekend. Or you could go into Friday and pitch off, take an L, most likely, treat it like a midweek game, just get a bunch of guys work, probably take a loss, and then come on home and save Anderson, Eyanson, effectively giving them, a week off to get ready for regional play. So we'll see what Jay Johnson elects to do. As we've talked about often, he's unconventional. My guess is they're going to go there trying to win it. And so I do think Anderson will pitch Friday, provided recovery is good and all that stuff. But we'll wait and see. But LSU is the 3 seed. That is one of the benefits, is that he won't have to worry about pitching off and playing on Thursday or earlier in the week. LSU's first game will be the second game on Friday. So they'll play Friday night. Okay, it is Locked on LSU, your team every day. There's my feelings on the game. Do me a favor, if you're watching live with us on YouTube, please smash that like button, subscribe. 769 people watching live right now. God bless you. I love you all for being with us all throughout this season. Please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Drop your comments. Let me knock out my very quick break. We'll come back and get to your questions and comments about the game, about the postseason, all that good stuff. As the Tigers win 7-3, it's Locked on LSU, your team every day. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. And it allows all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending. You can even plan long-term goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Okay, LSU beat South Carolina 7-3. The Tigers finished conference play 19-11. I'll look at the updated Warren Nolan live college RPI after the Tigers win over South Carolina. Just as soon as this updates, I'll let you know how it looks for LSU. But we'd love to get to your questions and comments. So fire away, whatever you got. We'd love to talk to you, and we appreciate you for hanging out with us here on this Saturday Live. And if you are listening or watching on demand, thank you so much for being there with us. Remember, if you're listening or watching on demand, get to the Locked on LSU YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified when we go live, because we go live as soon as the baseball games go final. Brant, I could be completely wrong. I think Jay overthinks stuff. I would have liked to see Rizzy go further. So in that situation, it's pretty obvious what they were doing, Brant. At this point, he was playing matchups. It wasn't about Rizzy extending. It was about getting guys mound time. And there are going to be situations, most likely, when you get into the postseason, when you're going to have to go situational like that. So, yes, Rizzy could have finished the game, but how valuable for Cooper Williams to get out there and throw? How valuable for Chase Shores to get out there and throw again a second time on the weekend? So, for example, give me one quick second here as I look up Cooper Williams, because I want to illustrate my point just to show you the importance of mound time. So, because it's just a big difference between throwing against your team in the midweek, or bullpens or live BP, and throwing in the game. So he threw, he went 2/3 of an inning against Arkansas last week. So he pitched in just one game against Arkansas, got only 2/3 of an inning. He pitched twice against Texas A&M in both the losses, and he pitched in the 9-3 loss to Tennessee on Saturday. Only went 1/3 of an inning and gave up the homer, the 2-run homer. So I think a lot of that is realizing you want to get these guys mound time. So I don't mind at all with that lead, Jay doing what he did. I don't think he was out thinking the situation. It was just very clear he's trying to get guys more time on task, especially young guys. Hey, Bob and Jake Brown. Spurs, Jay finally heard you. No, South Carolina started a righty. And so it's what they're doing. Jay is starting Jake Brown against righties, and he was great again today. He was 3 for 5 with a homer, a double, and a single. And I know I hear what people say about the splits and against lefties. My contention is going to be it still doesn't make a lick of sense. Like, you see what he is capable of. It is foolish to just assume he can't hit left-handed pitchers, so you leave him on the bench. Even in the 8th inning, like, this is an illustration. Even in the 8th inning, forgive me, it was in the top of the 9th when he doubled. By the way, that was an 0-2 pitch. So 0-2, he's down 0-2 and he doubles off the wall. But then he steals third base because he's that kind of athlete. And it was just, it wasn't a call stolen base. He took the base because he's one of the fastest guys, not the fastest guy on your team. And so Milam's RBI got him home. That also put more pressure because a pass ball there gets Jake Brown home from third. So now you got to throw it over the plate. You're less likely to throw a ball in the dirt. It's all the different ways you can impact the game when you're that talented. So yes, y'all know how I feel about it. It's nothing new at this point. Hey, Ben, wish these announcers would talk me to sleep at night. Sheesh. There was the one guy who sounded like a robot. His cadence was just a little off. It's hard to listen to. JD, let's see. Let's go now. The next week needs to be about just getting everyone ready for regionals. Club, how about Cooper Williams and, of course, Jake Brown? Both looked really good. EJ, good afternoon. After a very frustrating game one, LSU wins the series, locks up a national seed. What's the plan next week? Rest your starters? Well, dug into that a little bit. And I will go back to 2023. When LSU played in Hoover in 2023, they had locked up a national seed, of course, and Paul Skeens pitched against Arkansas in the SEC tournament, and he went 3 2/3. And he gave up 5 runs, by the way, in that outing. But it was never meant to be an outing where he was going to extend deep. That was just effectively a live bullpen. That's all it was going to be. And that may be what Jay chooses to do with Cade Anderson on Friday. Or you let Cade Anderson go extend. My feeling is I don't give a rip about the SEC tournament. The SEC tournament doesn't matter for anything. It just doesn't. You play 30 league games over the course of 10 weeks, 2.5 months. That should matter dramatically more than a stupid cockamamie single elimination tournament in a suburb of Birmingham on Memorial Day weekend. I get why they do it. It's money, but you don't need it. And LSU doesn't need it because they've locked up a national seed already. So I would like to see them go into Friday and effectively use that as like a midweek game. Maybe you start Jaden Newt, you throw Chase Shores, you get mound time for a lot of guys that you're looking to get out there and get work. And then knock on Formica, you lose, you come home, and then you've rested Anderson and Eyanson and given them effectively a week. That happens all the time in the majors where guys skip a start. If a guy feels like he's fatigued, run down, you just skip your turn in the rotation. You pick up back up the next time. Like, I would like to see them take that approach. I would have liked to have seen them done that in 23 with Skeens, although they ran him out there. So my guess is Jay is going to run Cade Anderson out there on Friday. But you asked what I would do. That's what I would do, but I'm not the coach. My guess is what Jay will do is throw Anderson next Friday. Connor, the path to number 8 just got a hell of a lot easier. Baseball's coming home. Yes, it did. Hey, Will, Jake Brown, how about that? Who knew? Who wins the tiebreaker with Vandy? LSU. I'm assuming it's LSU because in the standings today, coming into today, LSU and Vandy were both at 18 and 11, and LSU is ahead of Vandy. So no reason to believe that with LSU winning today, even if Vanderbilt does win today, and I don't know what the final is if they've gone final yet, that LSU would be surpassed. So LSU should be the 3 seed in the tournament. AD, great day to be a Tiger. Happy to see Jones doing well. Need Bear going forward. That's a good point, AD. I'm glad you brought it up. A lot of people have commented at times, do you give Bear Jones a day off? Do you drop him in the lineup? No. And this is why. I know I use this analogy a lot, and I don't mean to sound repetitive with it, but I don't know a better way to say it. It's like the stock market. Like, you don't jump in and out of the stock market. You stay consistent. And there's going to be ups and downs, but over the long term, you're going to win long term. Same thing with a guy like Jones or anybody over the course of 56 or 55 regular season baseball games for LSU this year. You're going to have ups and downs. I mean, Curiel the last couple of weeks has really struggled. But today he was awesome. He got on base 5 times. So, that's the kind of thing where you go through it. Jones, same thing. He had really struggled the past few weeks. He hits a couple of homers in game 2, homers again in this ball game. He was awesome. So you ride with it. You don't try to time it. That's also my point about Jake Brown. For people who make the comment about struggling with lefties, leave him in the lineup, and there will be good and bad, but there's going to be more good because of the opportunity to impact the game in a positive way in so many different ways. Yeah, nice to see Milam playing well. Hey, Thomas, LSU Science, Abner, thanks so much for being with us. Yes, Brant, LSU is locked up regional for certain, and they went into this weekend projected by D1 Baseball as the number 2 national seed. A series loss to a terrible South Carolina team could have been devastating. Locking up that series, finishing 19-11 with a top 10 RPI, you've locked up a national seed at this point. Matt, what SEC teams do you think will host a regional? I would defer to D1 Baseball. You go look at their field of 64. They had 6, by the way, this week. 6 SEC teams as national seeds. I'm trying to get it. Here it was. It's they had Texas is the 1, LSU is the 2, Arkansas is the 3, Vandy is the 5, Georgia as the 6, Auburn is the 7. So only Florida State and North Carolina from other conferences, both of the ACC. Other regional hosts, they had Alabama as the number 14 seed hosting, and that's it. So 6 national seeds plus Alabama, so 7 regional host sites. That was D1 Baseball this week, so we'll see how things may change. Hunter, Matt Bear Jones getting hot at the right time. Did we lock up his national seed? Yes. Crazy. We are ranked number 1 in the country, but it's not clear. Shows how top heavy everything is. It's more just baseball. Rankings in baseball are just wholly irrelevant. They change so fluidly, and it just doesn't matter what your ranking is. I'm more concerned with your conference record and your RPI. So after the win, LSU finishes the regular season 42-13, 19-11 in the conference, and the live RPI from Walter Nolan has LSU as the number 9 RPI team. So the Tigers with 13 quad 1 wins are 13-10 in quad 1, 7-1 in quad 2, 4-1 in quad 3, 18-1 in quad 4. And of course, that number is so heavy there, the 18, because you played such a miserable non-conference. Your non-conference strength of schedule is 221, and that could ding you. But it won't. LSU's done enough to lock up a national seed. So great to see. Hey, Roy, NIL young boy, what happened to the Devin Sheeran return? Yeah, it would have been interesting, man. They might have thrown him in that midweek game last week against Grambling that got rained out. Like, that would have been the opportunity. It was unlikely you were going to see him debut in such an important series in conference play, right? The last 2 weekends. Maybe if you were up 10, down 10, you could have seen that, but you never got into that situation. So I guess you did get in the second game against Arkansas, but you run ruled him. Trivia Carter, Jeremy Vince, Jonah, thanks for being there. How do we feel about Hernandez not being the everyday guy? So I'm okay with it, Jonah, assuming the reason they're continuing to catch Aaron Beatty for Eyanson is Eyanson's more comfortable with Aaron Beatty. Remember, early in the season, they were platooning Hernandez and Aaron Beatty, and it may be just a situation where Eyanson prefers Cade Aaron Beatty. And if that's the case, okay. And yes, Aaron Beatty does have the much higher ceiling. Like, Aaron Beatty is a potential future first-round pick, big leaguer. Hernandez isn't. You're probably seeing Hernandez's ceiling right now. To answer your question, yes, I'm okay. I'm okay platooning at catcher. It's not even really platooning. It's just I'm okay with Aaron Beatty catching Eyanson because it's that important. It's a premium defensive position. And if Eyanson is more comfortable with Aaron Beatty, then yes, let Aaron Beatty catch him. Shane, I wish he'd never call for a bunt again. It didn't go great this weekend, the bunting attempts. David, team scares me as they can win any game they're in. They can also let one get away at the end. Jay, no need to change up the catcher rotation. Yeah, I just addressed that. I'm there's no other way to say it. If Anthony Eyanson is more comfortable with Cade Arrambide catching him, then you let Cade Arrambide catch him. Like that was the whole thing with Greg Maddux back in the day. Like Greg, I forget the guy's name. Some of you might be old Braves fans might remember, but Maddux had a guy that he preferred caught him. So when Maddux pitched, that guy caught him every day. If you're an old school Braves fan, you'll remember that. Andrew, will LSU or Vandy be the 3 seed? As I'm looking at it, it looks like LSU will be the 3 seed. Delton should have swept them. I would agree with you. Jay, they hit better at home. They play better at home, Jay. This is why, I don't want to belabor the point here, but this is why I blew a gasket the other day with the loss on Thursday, because of how important it is for LSU to play at home through the postseason. This year, LSU at home is 30-5. On the road, they're 8-8. And when you blew the game in game 1, yes, you're still heavily favored in games 2 and 3 because of Eyanson and Anderson, but it's baseball and crazy things can happen. Think about today. You were in a 2-2 ball game in the 5th inning with this team. And it looked like Dickinson had been called out on a strike 3 on a close call and said that marginal call goes Dickinson's way, and then he homers to go up 4-2. You didn't put this thing out of reach until Brown homered in the 7th to give you a 3-run lead because it was 4-2. And then you scored single runs in the 8th and the 9th. But even still, I mentioned it before if you weren't here, when they homered in the 8th off of Williams to make it 6-3, they had the hit by pitch review. That would have been a 2-run home. That would have been a 6-4 ball game at that point in the 8th. It's baseball. Funny things can happen. So all that to say, it's why it's so important that LSU's postseason runs through Alec Box Stadium, and it will now. Greg, I need a Sharpie. Like you've been saying, I think we all agree Brown should never be out of the lineup. Yeah, Greg, I don't know. Listen, if there's some people who still would argue with me on that, it's just stubbornness. It's just people who have dug in their heels and they're arguing because there is no argument. Jay's the coach and he can do what he wants and he's got his reasons and he's loyal to Josh Pearson, and Josh is a good college baseball player. I'm not arguing against that. And there may be opportunities and spot opportunities to get ABs and all that sort of stuff. But when you look at your they haven't updated the season stats yet on this, but coming into this ball game, Jake Brown was hitting 304 in conference play. Pearson's at 257. You wouldn't even think about taking Steven Milam out of the lineup, even though he's hitting 200 in conference play coming into today's ball game. Because you ride with it. You ride with your best guys, and Brown's one of your best guys, and he should be in there. I think most of you now are agreeing with this now. Let's see. Good to see everybody there. NIL Young Boy, the shirt is fire. Yeah, thank you. If you're listening, not watching, this is the 1:17 a.m. shirt with the quote from Jay. We're the best team in America at 1 a.m. I'll post a link to it. I did talk about it on Morning Zone, but for those that are interested, I'll post a link to it in the live chat. But it's 929misfits.com if you're interested. 929misfits.com. I'll post the link if you want it. So there it is. Let's see if we can get a couple of more. Thomas, today's starter should be the starters the rest of the way. I love today's lineup. The only thing that has been different, obviously, has been what you've done in right field with Pearson and Brown. Yes, you all know how I feel about that at this point, and I think Ethan Fry has solidified himself as your everyday DH, so I do agree with you. Hey, Juan, greetings from Dusseldorf. Tigers keep winning late night European time. Good way to celebrate, man. Get you a cold pint. Need to address Jake Brown's celebration in the top of the 9th after his double. I didn't see it. Rex, Milam got out of his slump. Milam, the last 2 days, it was great to see him get on base a few times. In this ball game, Milam was 2 for 4, and he walked. So he was on base 3 times in this ball game here in Game 3, which was great to see. A lot of you were asking about the shirt. I just dropped the link to the shirt in the comments. Jake Brown with a 3-hit game. Let's go to Jay's house, have a talk with him. I'll drive. Again, I think most of you have, for those who didn't see eye to eye with me, probably do now. Play your best players. He's one of your best players. Okay. Cliff, what's going on? Love the t-shirt. A lot of y'all love the shirt. That's great to see. Let's see if I can get a couple of more in here. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. Cody asked about who LSU will play in the regional. No idea, but I can tell you what D1 baseball's projection was for the LSU regional, and their field is 64. Usually they try to, for the sake of proximity and travel, keep teams close. Remember, you cannot have a team from your conference come into your sub-regional. So LSU, they projected Bryant as the 4 seed, Southeastern as the 3 seed, and Miami, the Hurricanes, as the 2 seed. So that's what D1 baseball projected this week, which sounds about right. You'd keep it somewhat regional, and if there's a team from Louisiana like Southeastern, they'd come to the box. I will tell you, if that happens, I am not okay with Southeastern coming to the box. And not because of any type of competitive thing. I've always felt this way. Same whenever they would send Southern to LSU. It's an opportunity for those programs that make it into regional play to put their program on display in another part of the country. Think about how we know of Stony Brook or Coastal Carolina or UNC Wilmington or all the other programs over the years who have come and played regional baseball at the box. It's the same thing for the Louisiana teams. So I always think teams like Southeastern or ULL or Tech, or like they should be at Tulane, Southern, like they should be able to go play elsewhere. I understand why they get sent to Baton Rouge, but I would like to see it for them get the opportunity to play elsewhere. But it probably won't happen that way. Lindsay, love seeing this series win. Congrats to the CHS Bears for the state championship. Yes, ma'am. Yes, indeed. Cali High. Bears have been awesome. And by the way, if you're an LSU fan, take note of Jack Ruckert, who's the shortstop on that Catholic High team, who is an LSU commitment, and he's a dude. Like he's next, right? If you think about all the guys from Catholic that have come through, from even Austin Nola to Josh Smith and on down the line, Ruckert he's a dude. So that's a guy who next year as a freshman, when you're losing Braswell at third, you're losing Dickinson at second, Jack Ruckert could be a guy that figures in as a freshman the way Milam did on that infield in some spot, especially if he hits. So just a name to remember. What up, Trace? Good to see you there. Thank you for the compliment on the shirt. Appreciate that. See if I can get maybe one or two more in here. Jake Knight said, good to see Aaron Beatty coming along. He was not good early in games. It was a big concern. Hernandez has come along too. Biggest gain for the season. Jake, I'd agree with you. I mean, the biggest question you had early in this season, outside of the bullpen issues and throwing strikes, but in the field, was certainly catching. And Hernandez stabilized that position and allowed Aaron Beatty to catch midweek games and to come along and grow. And it's great to see Aaron Beatty continue to grow and develop. That's a guy, talking to some scouts before, in this past summer, Aaron Beatty was a guy that they fully expected was going to be a high school signee, that he was going to go straight into pro ball. He had a really rough year offensively as a senior, had a big number, didn't get his number, so he came to school. And I think long-term that's going to be to LSU's benefit. But having Hernandez as a bridge this year, I think is going to really be a benefit to Aaron Beatty, because it allowed him the opportunity to grow up here in this freshman season and not have the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's gotten to catch Eyanson, which is awesome. He's had some key at-bats in SEC play. And next year, he'll be your starting catcher. And he'll be your starting catcher for the next 2 years. I like this one. Feeling like Chase Shores is going to be the Thatcher Hurd of 2023. He's coming on at the right time. I'll give a hat tip to Ben McDonald. And, Ben is always kind with his time, but Ben came on AFR early in the year, and he talked a lot about Shores and the challenge of being 6'8" and figuring out your body. Remember, Ben's 6'7", so he talks about like trying to unwind in your motion, like in your wind up, and creating a repetitive motion consistently when you're that big, it's tough. And then when you consider the fact that Chase Shores hadn't pitched in 2 years, it was going to take time this year for him to develop and regain that comfort and that feel. And you're starting to see it now. Like, you're seeing why scouts are salivating. I mean, he's 6'8" and he throws 100, and he's got a wipeout slider. If he commands it, he's untouchable. So yes, and I'll tell you, I had a conversation on Thursday of this week. The two guys that they are really counting on to take a big step for them in the postseason are Shores and Jacob Myers. And if those two guys can be impact guys for you out of the bullpen, in addition to the guys Anderson, Eyanson, Cowan, Evans, throw Newt in that mix as well, Primo from the left side. If you can throw in young guys like Rizzy and Cooper Williams, they're available to you. But if Chase Shores and Jacob Myers can really emerge, I think you got a really, real big advantage there heading into the postseason. Okay, y'all. Let's wrap this thing up. Appreciate y'all so much for being with us. Please smash the like. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. Also, if you're listening on podcast, thank you so much for being there. Remember, get over to the YouTube channel, subscribe so you can join us live whenever the games end, because we'll go live as soon as the games end on the Locked On LSU YouTube channel. 736 people hanging out on a Saturday afternoon. God bless y'all. Go Tigers. Another regular season in the books. LSU finishes 19-11 in conference play. It's all over, but shouting now for the Tigers having a regional and super regional at the box. And the Tigers will head to Hoover this week as I understand it, as the 3 seed, meaning they will play the second game there'll be 2 games on Friday, and LSU would be the second game. So the first game would be at 3:00. LSU would play the night game from Hoover on Friday. So fingers crossed. We'll see how the Tigers manage it. Jay did say that they will come home before Hoover. So again, the Tigers will fly home tonight after this game. So they'll be in their beds Saturday night. They'll be home Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Very likely travel Wednesday. I guess they could even travel Thursday, but they could travel Wednesday, practice Thursday at Hoover High, and then play on Friday. So we'll see how the week goes for LSU. Tigers win 7-3. They beat South Carolina and lock up a national seed. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us here. It is Locked On LSU, your team every day.